Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Sham Sundar Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Om Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Rupa Guru Bhagya Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. So today is the 7th of March 2021, Sunday. We are continuing broadcasting our discussion of Srila Rupa Goswami's Śrī Upadeśāmṛta, and we are discussing the Bhaktyaloka of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, which is a discussion of the 6 qualities that destroy bhakti and the 6 qualities conducive to bhakti. So we are now in the 6 qualities that are conducive to bhakti, and that is the last of those 6 qualities. These 6 qualities are mentioned in the 3rd verse of Upadeśāmṛta, which is Utsahan Nishcha Dharjat Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyagat Sato vṛtti Sadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. And we have discussed already the first 5, and today the final quality, Sādhu vṛtti. So we'll have some discussion of that now. Okay. Oh, that's all. So this is Bhakti Vinod Thakur's writings here. So he says, I have written separate articles on the subject Utsaha, Nischaya, Dharja, Tat Karma Pravartana, and Sangha Tyag. Now I am writing an article on Sādhu vṛtti. There are 2 types of sadhus according to the distinction between householders and renunciants. The vṛtti conduct these sadhus should adopt will be written about separately according to this distinction between Vaisnavas. Although the appropriate vṛttis for householders and renunciates are different, some are appropriate for them both, and these will also be considered separately. There are 2 meanings of the term vṛtti: propensity, pravritti, and livelihood, jivana. A jiva's nature, svabhava, is called their propensity, and the jiva's propensity produced by their nature is their dharma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, it is said, Praya Shabhava Bihito Nrinam Dharmo Juge Juge Veda Drigbhi Smrito Rajan Pretya Cheha Cha Sharma Krit. O King, Dharma, determined by one's nature in every age, is known in general to be a producer of happiness in this world and the next by those whose eyes are the Vedas. By passing their lives within the vṛtti produced by their nature, human beings can attain transcendental nirguna Krishna bhakti. Otherwise, they fall into adharma and are not able to make any gradual advancement. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Vṛttya swabhava kritaya vartamana swakarma krit, hitva swabhava jam karma, shanir nirgunatam iya. This is also from the 7th canto. One who lives and performs one's duty within the occupation determined by one's nature, gradually gives up the actions produced by one's nature and attains the state of transcendence. The term nirgunata, the state of transcendence, means bhakti, as in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. Tasmad deham imam labdha jnana vijnana sambhavam guna sangam vinirduya mamba jantu vichakshanaha. Therefore, having attained this body and capacity for knowledge and realization, those of refined vision should give up all attachment to the modes of material nature and serve me. By the Lord's statement, Nirgunam mad apasrayam, it has been established that what is done because of bhakti is transcendental or nirguna. Srimad Bhagavatam also states in the 11th canto, Rajas tamas chabhijayet sattva samsevaya munhi sattvam chabhijayet jukto narapekshena shantadhi. The aesthetic and peaceful-minded should overcome passion and ignorance through service to goodness, and then, engaged in service to me, overcome goodness by indifference towards it. Therefore, if human beings can pass their lives fully engaging objects, actions, times, places, and everything else in the mode of goodness, in Bhagavad Bhakti, then they become nirguna. Only human beings are eligible for the propensity of goodness, and situated at this level of eligibility, the jiva gradually becomes nirguna. The general propensity of human beings in the mode of goodness has been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam as truthfulness, kindness, austerity, cleanliness, tolerance, vision, meaning discrimination between the proper and improper, equanimity, control of the mind, subjugation of the senses, non-violence, celibacy, charity, study, japa, sincerity, satisfaction, service to those of equal vision, non-involvement in village affairs, observing the futility of human endeavor, non-engagement in useless conversation, investigation into the self, discrimination between the self and non-self, distributing food and other necessities, understanding everyone's relationship with Bhagavan, hearing about Bhagavan, glorifying him, remembering him, attending to him, worshipping him, offering obeisance to him, serving him, being his friend, and surrendering oneself to him. According to a gradation in the presence of these 30 propensities, the 4 varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the 4 ashrams, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, have come into being. Bhikshur dharma samohingsa tapa iksha van okashaha grino bhuta rakseja dvijas charja sevanam. This is from the 11th canto. Equanimity and non-violence are the duties of a sannyasi. Austerity and vision, discrimination between the proper and improper, are the duties of a vanaprastha. Maintaining others and worship are the duties of a householder, and service to the Guru is the duty of a brahmachari. The occupations of the 4 varnas have been briefly described as follows: study, teaching, performing sacrifices, conducting sacrifices, giving gifts, and accepting gifts. These 6 are the activities of Brahmins. Therein, Brahmins should maintain their livelihood by teaching, conducting sacrifices, and accepting gifts. The occupations of Kshatriyas are administrating are administering justice to protect the populace and maintaining their livelihood through taxes and other means. Agriculture, cow protection, and commerce are the occupations of Vaishyas. Service to the twice-born is the only livelihood of Shudras. The means of livelihood for persons of mixed caste is the customary occupation of their family. From all these conclusions in Srimad Bhagavatam, it should be understood that as long as human beings are present in this world, Sri Hari Bhajan is their one and only purpose. They have no other purpose. If they are not able to make their gross body and subtle body favorable to such service, then such service is not possible for them. Some arrangements for the purpose of making these two bodies favorable are necessary. First, for the maintenance of the gross body, there is the necessity of acquiring a house, numerous items, and food and drink. For the development of the subtle body, proper knowledge and a proper occupation are necessary. If one is to make these two bodies completely favorable to bhakti, then these bodies need to be fixed in transcendence, nirgunata. A mixture of the three modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance must be present in the jiva's nature and in the jiva's desires that are produced as a result of their beginningless karma. First, one should curtail and subdue the modes of passion and ignorance through an increase in the mode of goodness, and then establish the predominance of goodness. If one can bring such goodness completely under the control of bhajan, then it becomes nirguna. By such gradual means, a body, mind, and condition fit for bhajan are achieved. Varnashram dharma is necessary while human beings are situated amidst the qualities and faults produced by their natures. The fundamental purpose of Varnashram dharma is that by following it, human beings will gradually become fit to engage in bhajan. Sriman Mahaprabhu spoke the following verse of Srimad Bhagavatam from the 11th canto to Srila Sanatana Goswami. Mukha bahuru padebhya purushasya shramaya saha chatvaro yajin indrevana gune vipradaya pritak ya esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishwaram nabhajanti avajananti stanad brasta patantya ado. The four different varnas, Brahmin and so forth, are born from the face, arms, thighs and feet of the Lord, through the modes of nature along with the four ashrams. Persons amongst them who disrespect and do not serve the source of their very selves, the Supreme Lord, are deviated from their positions and fall down. Srila Ramananda Rai said that the precept regarding the goal of life, or sadhya, and the means to attain it, sadhana, is this. Varna shrama charavata purushena parapumam Vishnu aradyate panta nanyatat tosha karanam. This is from the Vishnu Purana. The Supreme Lord Vishnu is worshipped by persons who adhere to the duties of their varna and ashram. There is no other way to satisfy him. Sriman Mahaprabhu then said this precept was external and told him to speak of a higher conclusion beyond this. The purport of Sriman Mahaprabhu's statement is this: O Ramananda, Varnashram Dharma is for regulating the gross and subtle bodies. If someone satisfied only with this does not engage in Sri Hari Bhajan, then what have they attained? Therefore, although the precept of Varnashram is a conditioned jiva's only means for a pure life, it is external. Dharma swanushtitya pungsam vishvakshena katasojha Notpayadayed jadi ratim, Shrama eva hi kevalam. If a soul's properly performed dharma does not produce attachment to discussions of the Lord, then it is simply labor. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto. Hereby, the conclusion should not be made that Sriman Mahaprabhu has instructed us to throw away Varnashram Dharma. If that were so, then he would not have instructed all jivas by fully observing during his life and leela the duties of a householder while situated at home, and the duties of sannyas during his leelas as a sannyasi. Varnashram Dharma must be followed as long as one is embodied, but that should always remain completely under the control and proprietorship of Bhakti. Varnashram Dharma is the plinth of the highest Dharma. When this highest Dharma reaches maturity, then, along with the attainment of the goal, comes gradual disregard for the means. Moreover, it is given up fully upon leaving the body. It should be understood from the phrase Vishnu Aradhyata Panta Nanyat Tat Tosha Karanam. In the last half of the verse, cited by Srila Ramananda Roy, that other than adherence to Varnashram Dharma, there is no other path of life favourable to Sri Hari Bhajan for the jiva in samsara. It can thus be called the only path to attain the life of a devotee. Human beings are divided according to their natures into these divisions: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Shankara, those of mixed birth, and Antyaja, outcast. Even though the system of Varnashram is not clearly present in some places, it is still there in seedling form. According to their natures, human beings have occupations and accordingly a means of livelihood. If they take on the occupation meant for others or the livelihood of others, they meet with adversity and earn severe disruptions to Sri Hari Bhajan. Birth is not the cause of this. One's nature or svabhava is the one and only cause. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, it has been written, Yasya jal lakshanam proktam punkso varna bhivanya jakam yad anya trapa drishyeta tattenaiva vinir dishet. If the stated characteristics indicative of a particular person's varna are seen elsewhere, in a person born amongst persons of another varna, then their varna, should be designated by their observed characteristics. In his commentary, Sridhar Swami has said, Samadhi bhir eva brahmanandi vyavaharo mukyaha najati matraditi aha jastyati jadjadi andyarta varnatarepi drishyeta tad varnantaram tenaiva lakshanam nirmitenaiva varnena vinirdaset natu jati nimitine tya artaha. The occupations of the varnas, Brahmin and so forth, are primarily because of qualities such as equanimity and not because of birth. This is being said in this verse. If Jad elsewhere and Jarta, even in another varna, qualities such as equanimity, are seen, drishyeta, then that, tat, the other varna, should be designated thereby, tena, specifically because of the presence of the characteristics of that varna and not because of one's birth. This is the meaning. This sort of eternal varnashram dharma should always be observed. It is almost always helpful to bhakti. Every one of the 4 Varnas and Sankaras, mixed castes, should try to develop a nature or Svabhava in the mode of goodness. If Anchajas, outcasts, as a result of some good works become fortunate, then they should observe the conduct of a Shudra and cultivate the mode of goodness. Giving predominance to Bhakti, everyone should, with the grace and association of the Sadhus, bring such developed goodness to the Nirguna level. These are the stages of the eternal Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. With Bhakti, all the members of all the Varnas are the best of the twice-born, the Brahmins. And without Bhakti, even life as a Brahman in the mode of goodness is useless. Let us cite a verse here as a precedent. The great soul Srila Narottam Das Thakur has said, Mahajanera Jay Pata Tate Haba Anurata Purvapara Kariya Bichara. I will follow the path of the Mahajans, considering both the earlier Mahajans and the later Mahajans. All the rishis and Mahajans who taught conduct prior to the appearance of Sriman Mahaprabhu should be counted as the earlier Mahajans. The conduct that can be seen in the Mahajans since Sriman Mahaprabhu's appearance is the conduct of the later Mahajans. The conduct of the later Mahajans is superior and should be followed. The conduct of Sriman Mahaprabhu and his followers for the instruction of the jivas should be followed in every respect. What is vṛtti, or proper conduct? To understand this, the conduct of Sri Krishna Chaitanya's followers should be observed. As far as I am able to, I will try to briefly summarize this in this article. First, I will write about the behavior and conduct of householders, which can be found in the lives of Sriman Mahaprabhu and his devotees. A householder should accept a wife as an assistant in bhajan. Mahaprabhu said, Grihastha ha iyama, ebe chahi griha dharma, grihini bina griha dharma, nahoya shobana. I have become a householder, and now I want to follow the dharma of a householder, but without a wife, a householder's dharma is not beautiful. When one goes to start a family in dharma with a wife, then Sri Krishna's servants and maidservants in the forms of sons and daughters are born. Raising them is called maintaining a household, kutumba bharana. To do this, acquiring wealth in accordance with dharma is necessary. In this regard, Sriman Mahaprabhu has said, Prabhu bale paribara aneka tomara, nirvaha kemate tabe haibe sabara. Mahaprabhu said to Srivas Thakur, you have many family members. How will you maintain them all? Grihastha hayena iho chahiye sanchaya. Sanchaya na kailaye kutumba bharana nahi hoya. Of Vasudev Datta, Mahaprabhu said, he is a householder and needs to save, but he does not save anything, and his household is not being maintained. Getting an education at the proper age is necessary. One should not, however, study a verse text. Mahaprabhu said, Pade kene loka Krishna bhakti janibare sa se jadi nahila tabbe vidyaya ki kore vishaya madanda saba kichuhi na jane vidya made dana made Vaisnava na chine Bhagavata padiyao karo buddhinash. Why do people study? To understand Krishna Bhakti. Were it not so, then what would one do with knowledge? Everyone is blinded by the intoxication of mundane enjoyment and does not understand anything. Intoxicated by learning or intoxicated by wealth, they do not recognize the Vaishnava, and even after studying the Bhagavatam, their intelligence goes to ruin. Serving guests is a principal duty of householders. This is Mahaprabhu's instruction. Grihastere Mahaprabhu Shikkayena Dharma Attitira Seva Grihastera Mula Karma Akkoitave Chitta Shuke Jara Jena Shakti Taha Karile Bali Atite Bhakti. Mahaprabhu taught householders their dharma. Serving guests is a principal activity for householders. If one serves sincerely and with a happy heart, according to one's means, then I can say they have devotion to guests. A householder should behave sincerely with everyone. They should not keep any sort of duplicity or deceit in their heart. Mahaprabhu said, Atta eva grihe tumi Krishna bhajya kuti mati porihari ekanta haiya. Therefore go home and serve Krishna sincerely, giving up all duplicity. Serving elders is a principal duty of householders. Mahaprabhu said, Grihasta haiya kariba pita matara sevana iha tai tushta habena Lakshmi Narayan. To his elder brother Vishwarup, he said, as a householder I will serve our father and mother. Lakshmi Narayan will be satisfied with this. A householder should learn detachment at heart, but should not dress oneself in the garb of a renunciate. Mahaprabhu said, Stirahana gare jao nahau vatula krame krame paya loka bhava sindukula markata vairagya na kara loka dekana jata jogya Vishaya Bunja Anna Shakta Hana Antare Nishtakara Bhaye Loka Vyavahara Achirat Krishna Tomaya Karibe Udara. Be calm and return home. Do not be crazy. Gradually a soul reaches the shore of the ocean of material existence. Do not make a show of monkey renunciation to the public. As appropriate, make use of material things, remaining detached. Internally, be firm, but externally observe social conduct, and soon Krishna will deliver you. Serving others is extremely necessary for householders. Mahaprabhu said, Bharata bhumite hoila manusya janma jara janma sartaka kori kara para upakara nacha gao bhakta sange kara sankirtana Krishna nama upadeshi tara sarvajana. Those who have received a human birth in the land of Bharat should make their lives successful and engage in service to others. So dance, sing, perform Sankirtan with the devotees, and liberate everyone by teaching them about Krishna's name. Here, during the cultivation of bhakti, association with deceitful persons has been prohibited. During Sankirtan in a city also, the instruction is to dance and sing in the association of pure devotees. Performing kirtan and so on with non-devotees is not necessary. A householder should depend on the will of the Lord in all their activities. Mahaprabhu has said, Shunnamata Ishwarera Adina Sangsara Svatantra Hoyihe Ayite Shakti Nahika Kahara. Listen, mother, the world is under the Lord's control. No one has the power to become self-sufficient. A householder should very cautiously give up bad association. that is, association with non-Vaishnavas, women, and the uxorious. Mahaprabhu said, Asat Sangha Tyaga, E Vaishnava Achara, Stri Sangi Eka Asadu, Krishna Bhakta Ora. Rejection of bad association. This is the duty of a Vaishnava. Those who are attached to women are one type of bad association, and non-devotees of Krishna are another. Householder Vaishnavas should earn wealth to maintain their livelihood according to their dharma. They should not earn wealth by means of any sort of sin. Sri Nityananda Prabhu has said, Shunna Dviya Jateka Pataka Koli Tui, Ara Jadi Nakarish Sabba Nimu Muni, Parahingsa Daka Churi Sabba Anachara, Chadda Giya Iha Tumi Na Kariha Ara, Dharma Pate Giya Tumi Laha Harinama, Tabbe Tumi Anyere Kariba Paritrana, Jatta Sabba Dashu Chora Dakia Ania, Dharma Pate Sabare Laoyo Tumi Giya. Listen, O Brahmin, if you do not commit them any more, I will take away all the sins you have committed. Give up malice, dacoity, theft, and all such immoral behavior, and do not do any of it again. Follow the path of Dharma and chant Hari's name. Then you will be able to save others. Call and bring together all the dacoits and thieves, and then convince them to follow the path of Dharma. A householder should not covet another's wife or a prostitute. Mahaprabhu's conduct with Krishna Das in Chaitanya Charitamrita as follows. Gosha Nira Sange Rahe Krishna Dasa Brahmana Bhattatari Sahatahan Hoila Darashana Stri Dana Dekana Tanna Lobha Janmaila Arya Sarala Viprera Buddhi Nasha Karila. The Brahman Krishna Das, who stayed with the Lord, happened to meet the Bhattataris. Showing him women in captivity, the Bhattataris allured this honorable and simple Brahmin and polluted his intelligence. Pulling him away from the Bhattataris by the hair, Mahaprabhu protected the Brahman from the women. Simple Brahman here means a weak-hearted Brahmin boy. Those who chant 100,000 names every day are true householders. Pure Vaishnavas should accept prasadam only in their homes. Mahaprabhu said, Prabhu Bale Jana Lakeshwara Bali Kare, Pratidina Lakshanama Jegrihana Kare, Se Janera Nama Ami Bali Laksheshwara, Tata Bika Amara Na Ye Anya Ghara. Mahaprabhu said, do you know what I call a Lakeshwara? Literally one who possesses 100,000. I call one who chants 100,000 names every day a Lakeshwara. Not a rich man who possesses 100,000 units of a currency. My alms come from them. I do not go to anyone else's home. In other words, I only go to the homes of the Vaishnavas and accept alms from them. Not to the homes of the wealthy materialists. In regard to virtuous conduct and character, there is no difference between Vaishnavas and Smartas. Mahaprabhu has said, Adama Janera Jay Achara Jaina Dharma, Adhikari Vaishnavayo Kare Se Karma, Krishna Kripaye Se Iha Janibare Pare, E Saba Sankate Keha Mare Keha Tare. Qualified Vaishnavas may also engage in the conduct and exhibit the character of fallen persons or smartas. By Krishna's mercy, one can understand this. In such dilemmas, some die and some cross over. The purport is that the conviction or nishta in the heart of a Vaishnava is different. One who is a Vaishnava can understand the conviction in the heart of another Vaishnava, even if their activities are the same as those of smartas. One who cannot understand this has no respect for the Vaishnava and thereby falls down. Mahaprabhu has described the duties of a householder. Prabhu kahena, Krishna seva, Vaishnava sevana, nirantarakara, Krishna nama sankirtana. Mahaprabhu said, worshipping Krishna, serving the Vaishnavas, and constantly chanting Krishna's name are the duties of a householder. Worshipping Krishna, serving the Vaishnavas, and constantly chanting the holy name with the assistance of one's family and wealth earned by maintaining one's life through a livelihood in accordance with Dharma are the duties of a householder. A point regarding serving the Vaishnavas is that sincere devotees are of three types, and service to them is service to the Vaishnavas. It is not necessary to invite and gather many Vaishnavas together. Householders should serve a Vaishnava with care as they are able whenever a Vaishnava arrives in the course of their activities. If one brings many Vaishnavas together, offense can occur. So, this is an important point set here before we discuss that, about bringing Vaishnavas together, that worshipping Krishna, serving the Vaishnavas, and constantly chanting the holy name with the assistance of one's family and wealth earned by maintaining one's life through a livelihood in accordance with Dharma are the duties of a householder. So earning one's livelihood in accordance with the duties of a householder, in accordance with Dharma, is very important. One cannot claim to be a Vaishnava or even an aspiring Vaishnava if one engages in adharmic means to maintain their life. So in other words, so there are 4 prohibitions given in the scripture, as we all know. That is the slaughter of animals, the intoxication, the gambling or cheating of others, and the illicit relationships between men and women, or men and men and women, but illicit sexual relationships, in other words. So if one earns one's living by these occupations, then one is definitely following the path of adharma. So that can mean, right, working in the slaughterhouse, working in the meat restaurant, working in the meat shop, working in the McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken or any of these places, working in the shop that sells meat, working in any industry that involves this, that is prohibited. Working in the brewery, working in the pub, working in the bar, working in the off-license, having a shop and selling alcohol and meat. These are all prohibited. Working in the betting shop, cheating others, making one's livelihood by theft and robbery, making one's livelihood by cheating others in various ways, such as identity theft or the misuse of stealing other people's belongings or stealing things from shops and then selling them onwards, or anything like that. That is prohibited. That is shunnam, or not shunnam. Sorry, gambling. The word it is told dutam panam striyam shunam. So dutam is intoxication. Dutam is gambling, but it doesn't just mean gambling. It also means cheating others. Dutam. And panam means intoxication. So it doesn't mean just engaging in intoxication, but selling intoxication and facilitating intoxication, like working in the nightclub or working in the pub. And striyam means illicit sexual behavior, so working in the brothel, working in the nightclub, working as a prostitute, all of these things, that is prohibited, against dharma. And shunam, of course, we've already discussed the killing of animals. That means even if you sell a sandwich with bacon or a sandwich with beef or anything in your shop to the people, that is adharma. Anything that supports any of these things. And also, as well as those four, there is also jata rupam. That means hoarding money. It is prohibited for Vaisnavas to hoard money. For householder devotees, they are allowed to save money for the necessity of their family. But to keep excessive money is against dharma. One should use one's wealth for the service of Krishna and the Vaisnavas. It is a simple matter. And something in reserve for emergencies, that is perfectly allowable. But not to covet wealth or to covet material things. Because wealth, jata rupam, where gold is hoarded, then all the other four things, they are available to everyone very easily. So these 5 things actually are against dharma, and to earn one's livelihood by this method is adharma and will cause us to fall down from our position in devotional service. So here, after this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, I'll read it again. A point regarding serving the Vaisnavas is that sincere devotees are of 3 types. That means Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttamadhikari. So, and service to them is service to the Vaisnavas. So we are to serve them according to their position, serving the Kanishta Adhikari, the Madhyam Adhikari, and the Uttamadhikari. Some difference in the method of service. It is not necessary to invite and gather many Vaisnavas together. Householders should serve a Vaisnava with care as they are able whenever a Vaisnava arrives in the course of their activities. If one brings many Vaisnavas together, offense can occur. And this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bahuta sannyasi jadi aise ekatani samana karite nari aparada poi. If many sannyasis come to one place, I will not be able to honor them all, and thus I will commit offense. Being kind to the poor is a duty of householder Vaisnavas. Dine daya kore e sadhu swabhava hoya. Being kind to the poor, that is the nature of a sadhu. A householder Vaisnava should not desire to give up the body out of anger or out of any ordinary sense of duty. Mahaprabhu's statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita is thus: Deha tyagadi jata sabha tamo dharma tamo raja dharme krishnarana paye marma. Giving up the body is in the mode of ignorance. In the modes of ignorance and passion, one cannot understand Krishna's true nature. Jai. In regard to Sri Krishna Bhajan, No one has any big or small status because of varna, birth, and other such things. Within worldly dharma, there is distinction between levels of eligibility for particular activities because of varna and so on. And there are differences in levels of intelligence from high to low, but there is no such gradation in relation to bhajan. Mahaprabhu's statement is as follows: Nicha jati nahe Krishna bhajane ajoga, sat kula vipra nahe bhajanera jogya, jay bhaje se bada abhakta hina chara, Krishna bhajane nahi jati kula di bichara. A low person is not unfit for Krishna bhajan, and a Brahmin from a noble family is not fit for bhajan. Those who serve are great. Non-devotees are lowly and contemptible. In Krishna bhajan, there is no consideration of birth, family, or anything of the sort. And elsewhere, Mahaprabhu says, Sanyasi pandita ganera korite garva nash, nicha shudra dware karena dharmera prakash. To crush the pride of renunciates and scholars, Mahaprabhu revealed Dharma through a lowly Shudra, Śrī Ramananda Rai. Householder Vaisnavas should feel satisfied with whatever food and clothing they can obtain without difficulty. Shabahoite Bhagavanta Sri Shaka Bhyanjana Punna Punna Jaha Prabhu Karena Grahana. Fortunate above all others were the beautiful shak preparations which Mahaprabhu took again and again. Knowing Sri Krishna to be the Lord of all, a householder Vaishnava should engage in exclusive Sri Hari Bhajan, but they should not disrespect the gods worshipped in the smarter tradition and other traditions. Namane Chaitanya Patta Bholaya Vaishnava Shivere Anya Kare Vyarta Tarashaba. All the endeavors of one who calls oneself a Vaishnava but does not follow the path of Sri Chaitanya and disrespects Lord Shiva are useless. So it is important. Actually, one of the offenses to the holy name is to consider the gods, with the small g, they say demigods or devatas, to be independent or equal to Krishna. But the flip side of that is to disrespect the gods as if they have nothing to do with Krishna. All the gods are the servitors of Krishna. We are to understand in this way, and therefore worthy of respect. Srila Govinda Maharaj explained to us in southern India, they say there is a great, clash between the Vaisnavas and the Shivites, those who follow the worship of Lord Vishnu and those who follow the worship of Lord Shiva. And it is said amongst the Vaisnavas of southern India sometimes, it is better to enter, if you are being chased by a tiger, it is better to enter into the mouth of the tiger than take shelter in the temple of Lord Shiva. So that's one of the things that they say in southern India, the Vaishnavas of southern India. But we do not support that statement because Vaishnavanam Jata Shambhu, it has been told in the scripture that Lord Shiva, he is the greatest of all Vaishnavas of his particular class. So he is Vaishnavana Yata Shambhu, or Vaishnava Shrestha, means the leader of the Vaishnavas. So we do not consider such controversies, and we do not support such thoughts of all gods and goddesses. We are to see them in connection with Lord Krishna. Once when Srila Govinda Maharaj was here in London, he was invited to give a lecture at the temple of Durga Devi, nearby to our temple here, a few miles away, and we went there. And when we came into the temple, there's a big deity of, 10-armed Durga Devi sitting on the back of a tiger, and Srila Srila Govinda Maharaj, he bowed down to her, and when he stood up, he said, Jai Jogamaya. Jogamaya Devi ki Jai. So he is seeing with his vision her spiritual form as Jogamaya, not as the mundane form of Durga Devi. But the Durga Devi, she is to be honored because of her connection with the Lord, her service to the Lord. And all gods and goddesses in a similar way. We are not to disrespect them. Wow, okay. Giving up self-interest and serving others is the duty of a householder. Apanara balahau yete jana deke, sujana apana chadiao pare pararakye. Whomever they see, the wise think, may you be well. They neglect even themselves as they care for others. A householder Vaishnava should respect and worship Sri Tulasi. Sankhya nama laite je stane Prabhu vashe. Tattai rakena tulasire Prabhu pashe. Tulasire dekana japena sankhya nama. E bhakti jogera tattva ke bujhibeana. In the place where Mahaprabhu would sit to chant his quota of the holy name, he would place Tulsi beside him. He would gaze at Tulasi and chant his quota of the name. Who can understand the nature of such bhakti yoga? A householder with bhakti is glorious. A householder devoid of bhakti is contemptible. A householder should engage in whatever worldly duties they have to perform in the shelter of Sri Krishna's name. The example of the great soul Sri Kalidas in this regard. Mahabhagavata teho sarala udara Krishna nama shankete chalaya vyavahara kotukete teho jadi pashaka kelaya Hare Krishna kare pashaka chalaya. He was an advanced devotee, simple and liberal. He carried out his affairs with intimations of Krishna's name. He would indicate his intentions only by pronouncing Krishna's name with varying intonations. When he would play dice in jest, he would chant Hare Krishna as he rolled the dice. Unethical earning and improper spending are prohibited for everyone, as is accepting bribes from workers. Mahaprabhu's statement is as follows. Rajara Bhartana Koya Ara Churi Kare Raja Dandya Hoyase Shastera Bichare Vyaya Na Kariha Kichu Rajara Mula Dana Rajara Mula Dana Diya Ye Kichu Labya Hoya Se Dana Kariha Nana Dharme Karme Vyaya Asad Vyaya Na Kariha Jate Dui Loka Jaya. One who takes a salary from the king and then steals from the king is fit to be punished by the king. This is the verdict of the scriptures. Do not spend any of the king's capital. Rather, repay the king's capital and then spend the balance on your various duties and activities. Do not engage in any improper spending, whereby both worlds, this and the next, are lost. A householder should accept a guru who is devoted and of pure character. Guru Jatta Bhakti Shunya Tata Shishyagan. When a guru is devoid of bhakti, so too are the guru's disciples. A householder should be particularly careful not to commit any offense against the Vaisnavas. Mahaprabhu's statement is as follows. Jai Vaishnava stane aparada hoya jara, puna se kamile se guche nahe ara, When the Vaishnava whom one has offended grants one forgiveness, then one's offense is removed, and not otherwise. Serving devotees is a principal activity of householders. Vaishnavera Shesha Bhakshanera Eteka Mohima Kalidase Paoyaila Prabhura Kripa Singha Bhakta Pada Duliara Bhakta Pada Jala Bhakta Bhukta Shesha Eitina Sadanera Bala. Taking the remnants of the Vaishnava has such power. Kalidas received Mahaprabhu's full mercy. The devotee's foot dust, the devotee's foot wash, and the devotee's remnants. These three are the strength of one's sadhana. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, Sri Krishna has described how a householder devotee should act as long as they have not developed the full character of a devotee, and their enjoyment of desired objects produced by their nature has not passed away. Jatta Shrado Mat Katasu Nirvina Sarva Kamasu Veda Dukatmakam Kaman Pratyagyepi Anishvara Tatoba Jetamam Pritaha Shraddha Lordrida Nischaya Jushamanas Chatan Kamam Dukkha Darkams Chagarhayam. Those who have developed faith, Shraddha, in discussion of me, who are averse to all activities unrelated to me, and who know that selfish desires are full of suffering, but are still unable to give them up, should serve me with affection, being faithful and of firm conviction, as they both act upon those desires and condemn the suffering they ultimately produce. When a householder develops Shraddha, they should accept initiation into the Sri Krishna mantra. Shraddhabana Jana Hoya Bhakti Adhikari Uttama Madhyama Kanishta Shraddha Anusari. Those who have Shraddha are qualified for Bhakti. According to their Shraddha, they are advanced, intermediate, or a beginner. A householder Vaishnava should gradually develop all these qualities. Kripalo Akrita Droha Satya Sarasama Nidosha Badanya Mriddu Suchi Akinchana Sarvo Pakaraka Shanta Krishnaika Sharana Akama Aniha Stira Vijita Sadguna Mita Bhuk Apramata Manada Amani Gambira Karuna Maitra Kavi Daksha Muni. They should develop these qualities. Merciful, non-violent, truthful, equipoised, faultless, magnanimous, gentle, clean, possessionless, altruistic, peaceful, exclusively surrendered to Krishna, desireless, detached, steadfast, victorious over the 6 bad qualities, lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy. A minimal eater, sober, respectful, modest, solemn, compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. Special earnestness for association with sadhus is desirable for a householder Vaishnava. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Haya Sadhu Sangha. Association with sadhus is the origin of Krishna Bhakti. Amongst the many limbs of sadhana, special earnestness for the 5 principal limbs is desirable. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Matturabhasa Shri Murtira Shradaya Sevana Sakala Sadhana Shrestha E Pancha Anga Krishna Prema Janmaya E Panchara Alpa Sangha. Association with sadhus, chanting the holy name, hearing the Bhagavatam, residing in Mathura, and serving the deity with Shraddha, these 5 limbs are the best of all the sadhanas. Even slight connection with these 5 give rise to Krishna prema. Gradually, one should curtail the temperament of being preoccupied with prescriptions and seek raga. When raga for Bhagavan awakens, many prescriptions automatically recede and atonement becomes unnecessary. The difference between them is this. Kama chagi Krishna bhajye shastra agya mani. Deva rishi pitri digera kabu nahirini. Vidhi dharma chadi bhajye Krishnera charana. Nishida papanchare tara kabu nahemana. Ajjane nahoya jadi papa upasthita. Krishna tanre shuddha kare nakaraya prayas chitta. One who gives up selfish desire and serves Krishna according to the directives of the scriptures is never a debtor to the gods, sages, or ancestors. One who gives up one's lawful duties and serves Krishna's feet never has any inclination towards forbidden sinful behavior. If unknowingly or otherwise one happens to sin, Krishna purifies them and does not make them perform any atonement. A devotee householder should not pursue any knowledge or renunciation other than knowledge regarding bhakti and the detachment produced by bhakti. If they take up service to Krishna with earnestness and determination, they will attain all good fortune. Jnana vairagyadi bhaktira kabu nahe anga. Ahimsa jama niyamadi bhule Krishna bhakta sangha. Knowledge, renunciation, and other virtues are never limbs of bhakti. Non-violence, restraint, observances, and so on naturally accompany a devotee of Krishna. The stages of Sri Krishna Bhakti are as follows. They should be carefully followed. Sadhu Sangha hoite hoya Shravana Kirtana. Sadhana Bhaktye hoya Sarvartha Nirvatana. Anartha Nivritti hoile Bhaktye Nishta hoya. Nishta hoite Shravanadye Ruchi Upajaya. Ruchi hoite Bhaktye hoya. Ashakti Prachura. Ashakti hoite Chitte Janme. Krishna Prityanukra. Ankura. Se rati gada hoile, dhare prema nam. Sri se prema prayojana sarvananda dham. From association with sadhus comes hearing and chanting, and by such sadhana bhakti all anarthas or vices cease. When such anartha nivritti occurs, then nishta, constancy in bhakti develops, and from nishta arises ruchi or taste, for hearing, chanting, and so forth. From ruchi, abundant ashakti, attachment to bhakti, develops, and from ashakti, the sprout of vritti, or love for Krishna, arises in the heart. When such rati becomes intense, it bears the name prema, or divine love. Such prema is the goal and the abode of all joy. A householder Vaisnava should constantly chant Krishna's name, very carefully avoiding the 10 offences to the name. Bhajanera madhye shrestha nava vidha bhakti, Krishna prema, Krishna dite, dare mahashakti. Tara madhye sarva shrestha nama sankirtana, nira paradhe nama loile, paya prema dana. Amongst all types of service, 9 types are the best. They have great power to bestow Krishna prema and Krishna. Amongst them, the best of all is chanting the holy name. When one chants the name without offence, one attains the wealth of prema. Not depending upon mere observance of dharma, a householder should take shelter in pure bhakti. Mahaprabhu's statement is as follows. Mora nitya dekite uhara kon shakti. Paya panna korileki mote hoya bhakti. What power does he, a sinless, austere Brahmin who lives only on milk, have to see my dancing? If someone drinks milk, then they have bhakti to me? The mood of servitude is good for the jiva. The mood of being Lord is extremely bad. Udara bharana lagi ebe papi saba layoya ishwara ami mule jaradgava kukurera baksha deha ihare laiya balaye ishwara vishnu maya mugda naiya. To fill their bellies, all these sinners now claim, I am the Lord, though really they are just lazy old bulls. The body is dog food, but bearing that, they say, I am the Lord, being bewildered by Vishnu's illusion. Householder Vaisnavas should observe and model their behavior on the household behavior of Sriman Mahaprabhu and his associates. The behavior that Mahaprabhu's devotees and Mahaprabhu himself demonstrated in their lives and in securing their livelihoods should be followed by devotee householders. Whatever activities one may perform out of desire for Sri Krishna are good. One becomes entangled in samsara as a result of anything one does out of desire for secondary results and the satisfaction of the senses. For devotees, being a householder or renouncing home is the same thing. Sri Ramananda Rai, Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Sri Srivas Pandit, Sri Shivananda Sen, Sri Satyaraj Khan and Sri Advaita Prabhu all showed us the path of maintaining a vice-free livelihood as householders. The distinction between householders and renunciates is simply a result of a difference in their manner of maintaining their livelihood. If the home of a devotee is favourable to bhajan, then they should not renounce their home. They should with detachment remain at home. Only when the home becomes unfavourable to bhajan does any right to renounce the home come into being. The detachment from the home that arises at that time is acceptable in all respects because it is produced by bhakti. It is for this reason that Srivas Pandit did not renounce his home, and it is for this reason that Sri Swarup Damodar accepted sannyas. It is for this reason that all sincere devotees have remained either at home or in the forest. Those who renounce home for this reason are sincere devotee renunciates. They are always careful about offences to the name. So, that is the description given or discussion given by Bhakti Vinod Thakur about the duties and behavior of householder devotees. The next part is about the duties of renunciates and the behavior of renunciates. So I'm going to stop today there, as there is still quite a lot of this particular article left for that. So I hope you all forgive me. We have a small skeleton crew of devotees here today. So today we are going to end our class. Thank you for joining with me, and hope we will again join together next week. In the meantime, there are almost every day online classes, Zooms, and broadcasts on Facebook pages from the devotees of our mission. So my advice to you all is to tune in to those, engage in those, and this way remain in Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha. In all respects, Sadhu Sangha is necessary for us. And Sadhu Sangha doesn't just mean gurus and sannyasis. Sadhu Sangha means the association of those who are thoroughly honest and devoted to the Lord. From whatever ashram or whatever background or whatever position they may be, that is not the question. The question and qualification is how much bhakti one has for Lord Krishna. And if we see, actually Guru Maharaj said bhakti is peculiar inasmuch as we are only able to perceive it in others. We cannot see it in our own self. If we think that we are possessed of bhakti, then that means that we are very far away from that. But the reality is that we can detect bhakti in others if we are intelligent and discriminating, and if we understand the qualifications of a Vaishnava, then we can see bhakti in others. And there are many devoted souls in the world devoted to the service and the propagation of Krishna consciousness, and many of them in our mission giving some class, giving some Zoom, giving some association at various times of the week. Today, later today, or maybe even now, Śrīla Acharya Maharaj giving some class usually. You can join with him. During the week, every day, Śrīla Janardhan Maharaj giving Chaitanya Charitamrita class every day, and also Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj giving class every day in Spanish. So if you're a Spanish speaker, you can join with him. Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj giving classes very regularly also, especially on the festival days and other days. Very informative, very wonderful classes with him. Every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. we join with Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj for a Zoom meeting. So you can also join with us then from anywhere, 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, whatever that translates to where you are. And on every Saturday at midday Greenwich Mean Time, we join with Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj to discuss some topic of bhakti with him. Those are always very beautiful also. So if you want to join with us then, you can do so. And every Sunday, as much as possible, whenever possible, I try to give some class at the moment, concentrating on Upadeśāmṛta. And if you would like to join with me, I'm very happy to have your company. We know that everything in this world is temporary. So actually the situation we are in now with the pandemic, lockdown, all of these things is also temporary. And before we know it, everything will be finished, and we will be together again, both in physical and in, we hope, continuing with the virtual Sangha as well. As if this global pandemic has given us any thing positive, it is that the association of the Vaisnavas via the internet and the media that has become very prevalent, and many devotees coming together for that. So it is a good thing. Any type of association with the Vaisnavas is a very good thing. So every circumstance is favorable if we are able to see the positive in it. So even this is favorable in that it affords us more opportunity to meet with the Vaisnavas and to join with them and hear the glories of Lord Krishna, to hear the glories of the Vaisnavas, to hear the glories of devotional service. This is what we wish for, which we aspire for, which will give us all perfection in life. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Rakak, Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Srila Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Śrī Upadeśāmṛta ki jai, Rupa Nuga Guru Bhagya ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda ki jai, Kol Kartel ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi.